My name is Leonard, and I spend way too much time thinking about the three income levels that completely change your financial life. If you're someone who works hard every month, pays your bills on time, maybe even tries to save a little, but still feels like you're not actually getting ahead, like you're running on a treadmill that never turns off, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because here's the thing. Most people think money problems are about discipline. They think, if I just budget better, if I just cancel Netflix, if I just stop buying coffee. Look, that's not the real issue. The real issue is that there are income thresholds, specific levels, that fundamentally change how your financial life works. And until you cross them, you're playing a completely different game. Today, we're breaking down the three income levels that completely change your financial life. Not just the math, but the psychology. Not just what the numbers are, but why they feel so different. And by the end, you're going to see your income in a completely new way. Let's start with level 1. Level 1, survival income, when every dollar has a job. This is the income level where 70 to 90% of your money goes to fixed expenses: rent, transport, groceries, utilities, debt payments. According to data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American household spends over 60% of their income on housing, transportation, and food alone. For lower-income households, that number jumps dramatically, often over 75%. In South Africa, similar data from Statistics South Africa shows lower-income households spend the vast majority of their income on housing, transport, electricity, and food. Here's what most people don't realize. When you're at this level, budgeting will not save you. Let me say that again. Budgeting will not save you, because the math simply doesn't leave enough margin. Let's use a simple example. Say you earn $2,000 per month after tax. Rent, $800. Transport, $250. Food, $400. Utilities, $150. Insurance and debt, $250. Miscellaneous, $150. That's $2,000. Zero left. You could cut $50 here, $30 there, but you are operating with no margin. And margin is everything. Psychologically, this level creates something called scarcity mindset. Behavioral economists have shown that when people operate under pressure, cognitive bandwidth drops. You make more short-term decisions because you have to. You're not irresponsible, you're overloaded. This is where it gets really interesting. When you're in survival mode, your brain prioritizes immediate relief over long-term strategy. That's why saving feels impossible. That's why investing feels abstract. It's not that you don't care about the future, it's that the present is loud. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Leonard, so what am I supposed to do? I can't just magically increase my income. True. But here's the shift. At level 1, your primary financial goal is not investing, it's income expansion. Side skills, overtime, freelance work, certification, switching industries, negotiating salary. Because moving from $2,000 to $3,000 changes more than you think. Which brings us to level 2. Level 2, stability income, the margin multiplier. This is where life starts to breathe. Not because you're rich, but because you have margin. Let's say your expenses are still $2,000 per month, but now you earn $3,500. You now have $1,500 of margin. And here's the math people underestimate. If you invest $1,000 per month at 7% annual return, roughly in line with long-term averages tracked by S&P Global, over 20 years, you'd have around $520,000. That's $500,000 from margin. This is where most people don't realize the game changes. Because at this level, money becomes a tool, not just a necessity. Psychologically, this is when anxiety drops. Research from Princeton University found that emotional well-being increases with income up to a certain threshold, whereafter it plateaus. The biggest jump in happiness isn't from $100K to $200K. It's from barely covering bills to having breathing room. And here's the key insight. Margin compounds. If you earn $3,500 and keep living like you earn $2,500, you accelerate wealth dramatically. But this is also where lifestyle inflation sneaks in. Now, you might be thinking, well, if I make more money, shouldn't I enjoy it? Of course. But here's the trap. Most people upgrade their expenses at the exact same rate they upgrade their income. Car payment increases, apartment upgrades, subscriptions multiply. Suddenly, that $1,500 margin shrinks to $200, and you're back in survival, just with nicer stuff. It's like running on a treadmill that speeds up every time you get stronger. The psychology here is powerful. Humans adapt quickly. It's called hedonic adaptation. Your new car feels amazing for 3 months. Your upgraded apartment feels normal in 6. Your new salary feels standard in a year. If you don't intentionally protect margin at level 2, you'll never reach level 3. Action steps at level 2. 1. Automate investments immediately when income increases. 2. Cap lifestyle upgrades to 30 to 40% of income increases. 3. Build a 6-month emergency fund. 4. Invest consistently in broad index funds or retirement vehicles. 5. Develop at least one additional income stream. Now we move to level 3, and this is where the real shift happens. Level 3. Freedom income, when work becomes optional. Freedom income isn't about how much you earn, it's about how much your assets earn. Here's the formula. Freedom equals annual expenses divided by 0.04. Why 0.04? Because of the 4% rule, popularized through retirement research often associated with data from firms like Vanguard. The idea, if you withdraw 4% annually from a diversified portfolio, it has historically lasted 30-plus years. Let's say you need $60,000 a year to live comfortably. $60,000 divided by 0.04 equals $1.5 million. That's your freedom number. Now, I know you're thinking, Leonard, $1.5 million sounds impossible. But break it down. If you invest $1,500 per month at 8% for 30 years, you're around $2 million. Not overnight, but possible. This is where it gets really interesting. At this level, time becomes your primary asset. You don't have to work. You choose to. And psychologically, that changes everything. Work stress drops. Risk tolerance increases. Creativity expands. You negotiate differently. You think differently. You live differently. But here's what most people don't realize. Very few people reach level 3 because they never fully commit at level 2. They half invest, they delay, they wait for later, and later becomes never. Let me tell you a quick story. I once spoke to someone earning 6 figures, impressive salary, but they were spending $9,000 per month on lifestyle, car lease, luxury apartment, dining out constantly. They felt wealthy, but they were one job loss away from panic. High income does not equal freedom. Margin invested equals freedom. Always. Now, you might be thinking, what if I don't want $1.5 million? What if I just want flexibility? Good. Then lower your expenses. If you can live on $40,000 a year, $40,000 divided by 0.04 equals $1 million. That's a $500,000 difference just by designing your lifestyle intentionally. This is where psychology meets math, because financial freedom is not just about earning more, it's about wanting less. And that's uncomfortable to hear, but it's powerful. The real truth about income levels. Here's the big insight. The first income level removes fear. The second builds power. The third buys time. Most financial advice focuses on cutting small expenses, but the real breakthroughs happen when you cross income thresholds. From 2K to 3.5K, from 3.5K to 7K, from earned income to asset income. And none of this requires you to be a genius.
It requires consistency. It requires protecting margin. It requires understanding your own psychology. So here's your immediate action plan. 1. Calculate your current survival number, monthly expenses. 2. Determine your next income target, at least 30 to 50% higher. 3. Automate investing the difference. 4. Track your net worth monthly. 5. Avoid lifestyle inflation for 24 months. That alone will put you ahead of 80% of people. And look, I get slightly frustrated talking about this because I see talented, intelligent people sabotage themselves over and over. Not because they're lazy, but because no one explained the levels clearly. Money isn't about being rich, it's about crossing thresholds that change the game. And once you see the levels, you can't unsee them.
So ask yourself, which level am I on? What's my next threshold? What's the fastest ethical way I can increase income? Am I protecting margin or consuming it? Because 5 years from now, you will either have crossed into the next level or you'll still be negotiating with your bills. The difference won't be luck, it will be decisions. If this helps shift your perspective even slightly, subscribe. We're building financial clarity here. And remember, income changes comfort, margin changes trajectory, assets change destiny. I'm Leonard, and I'll see you in the next one.